Dr. John Lott explains that newly released documents reveal that the Biden administration buried elements of a plan to weaponize parts of the federal government against so-called domestic terrorists for engaging in non-criminal activity. Here's One America's John Hines.
We are speaking with Dr. John Lott, who is president of the Crime Prevention Research Center. And Dr. Lott, you have been researching a Biden administration document released by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, with the anodyne name Strategic Implementation Plan for Countering Domestic Terrorism. And now you are speaking out, saying this document lays out Joe Biden's plan to advocate censorship, the closing of people's bank accounts, debanking, and gun control measures targeting so-called domestic terrorists, including Catholics and parents attending school board meetings. So, Dr. Lott, we've heard a lot about some of this in a piecemeal fashion. Why is this revelation of this document, this Biden plan, news now?
All right, well, because they're going after non-criminal activity. There was the same document without this classified stuff was released by the Biden administration in June 2021. And in that one, they went through all these different government resources to go after criminal activity, violent activity by terrorists. And look, everybody wants to stop criminal activity. Somebody who's violent or threatening violence is a real danger, and government should protect people from that. But what Tulsi Gabbard declassified, the rest of the document that was there, is that they were also using all these government tools to go after things that they called were non-criminal activity.
What you're saying is, Dr. Lott, is that the Biden administration worked on a plan to basically weaponize the government and financial institutions against so-called domestic terrorists for their conservative political views. And that plan was real and fairly detailed. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, it was extremely detailed. They had all sorts of different parts of the federal government, everything from the State Department to the FBI to the Department of Justice to the Department of Education, USAID. Many other parts of the federal government were involved in identifying these individuals and then going and taking action. So we've had it come out that people like John Eastman or other lawyers that were working for Trump had their bank accounts frozen. You know, you read this document.
So this wasn't a conservative conspiracy theory. It was real, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, nobody needs to take my word for it. Just go and read the document that's there. Again, look, it's one thing. If somebody's engaged in criminal activity, if they're violent, if they're threatening violence against other people, you want the government to go and protect you. Look, you know, under the Obama administration, we had something called Operation Choke Point, where the federal government would go and put pressure on financial institutions not to do business with companies that the Obama administration didn't approve of, places like oil industry or firearms makers. Trump ended that. Biden restarted it. But apparently he expanded it. Not only were they going after companies that they didn't approve of, but they were going after private individuals. I mean, just imagine
and
if
that
you
part
can't
was
have
secret,
a checking.
Though. This is the part that I'm interested in. Part of that was secret, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, it's one thing. Look, it was public knowledge that they were doing this debanking for companies. I mean, they made it difficult for companies in the oil industry or the firearms industry or the coal industry to go and do business. Could you still operate? Yeah, but try running a business without having a bank taking the checks for your customers or handling credit card receipts from your customers. There are workarounds, but it's more costly. But try being an individual now. Now, that's what Biden expanded it to, is to go after private individuals. You know, it's kind of scary when you're thinking that these tools, very powerful tools that the federal government has, are being used against people who were not engaged in any type of criminal activity.
Dr. John Lott, who is president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, thank you for speaking with us on One American News, sir. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you very much, John.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OA.